Hi everyone, Caitlin here. Welcome to episode 2 of Walking the Walk, where I use my own personal life examples to demonstrate different concepts that I may work on with clients in our work together. And so today I wanted to talk about the Polyvagal Theory of Trauma, and really about how our nervous system impacts the way that we function, the way that we behave, and how our emotional responses can kind of dictate our capabilities in different situations. So if you want to understand more about why you may be feeling certain ways, or understand some practical ways on how you can get out of certain stages or phases where maybe you feel really reactive or you feel like you've completely shut down, then keep watching, basically. So I'm at my whiteboard here today, and hopefully I can invert this video. But I wanted to talk about kind of the two primary nervous system responses. So within our autonomic nervous system, we have two primary branches that our body will respond with. And so the first one is the sympathetic nervous system, which is well known as the fight or flight response. So this is going to be characterized by a lot of mobilization. Your heart rate is going to speed up. You're going to feel much more anxious or angry, and there's going to be a lot of reactivity. So this may come in times when you feel really stressed, very overwhelmed. There's kind of this frantic, buzzing energy where you're going to be moving around a lot more, and that may come out in terms of fidgeting, or it might come out in actual aggressive behavior, so pacing, or actually, getting to the point of physical aggression with another person. The second type of response within our nervous system is our parasympathetic nervous system, and that's what's known as our rest and digest. So the parasympathetic is actually what calms us down after our sympathetic response has been activated. But the thing about the parasympathetic branch and this rest and digest response is that there are actually two ways that our body will do it. And it uses one of the biggest nerves within our body that is in this system is the vagus nerve, hence the polyvagal theory of trauma. And so the two ways that our body can achieve this resting state is one, through the ventral vagal response. So this is kind of what we call the green zone, and this is where we've come down from this fight or flight, we've come down from this anxiousness, and we feel secure, we feel safe, we feel trusting of other people. And so when we're back in this green state, and we're restful in that sense, we're going to be more likely to do social things and communicate with others. So we'll see more laughter, more smiles, joking, singing, dancing, things that we would only really do if we felt that we were in a safe and secure place. Now sometimes, and so the ideal is that our bodies will navigate between this green zone, the ventral response where we're communicating with others, and this fight or flight response well, and we'll have a good balance between them. But sometimes when our body has experienced trauma, and this could be trauma anywhere from sexual or physical abuse to emotional neglect and abandonment in childhood, sometimes our body kind of gets this calibration wrong, and we end up going into the other way that our body will rest and digest, which is the dorsal vagal response. And so this is kind of what we call the red zone, because the only way that our body knows how to rest and come down from this really overreactive fight or flight state is by shutting down. So the vagus nerve, which again is the primary nerve in this parasympathetic response, ends up going through our entire body. It starts in the brainstem, it goes through to your vocal cords, to your lungs, your heart, to every single major organ that you have. And really that connection within your whole body means that the nervous system has such a huge impact in every single way that we react to things. And in fact, our brains are constantly scanning our environments to see what the level of threat is. So is there some danger present where we would need to be in this fight or flight response? And, am I now safe where I can be kind of in the green zone, or am I so overwhelmed and at such a high level of risk, at such a life threat, that I'm going to go into this red zone response and completely shut down? So, it's already been 5 minutes. hopefully people are still here. I'm going to talk about my personal example from yesterday. So I was kind of sorting through a task for myself and immediately found myself getting really overwhelmed and very anxious and stressed about everything. So I was living in this fight or flight response. So I'm going to put an S here because this is sympathetic. And the reason why I've kind of sectioned it at this area is because the sympathetic is going to be a lot localized in the upper torso of our bodies. So that's why when we're anxious or angry, we feel a lot of chest tightening. We're breathing a lot more just in our chest. We have a lot shorter of breaths. That's because this is the area that's kind of most overreactive, and especially with our heart rate, it goes up extremely high. So I was in this state. I was noticing myself getting very frantic. I was fidgeting a lot. I was trying to kind of make a list to sort through this task that I had. And at one point, I found myself kind of starting to disconnect. And so for me, in that moment, even though it wasn't a life threat and I wasn't physically in danger, my brain, the way that it scanned this environment, the situation, said, no, this is too much. This is too much for me. I'm not able to cope with this. And what happened is that in order for my body to calm down, to activate this rest and digest, I didn't go into the green zone where, I felt kind of happy and safe and calm. I went into the red zone and I had the dorsal vagal response. And so this is located at the bottom because this vagus nerve runs through our entire body, but when we're in the dorsal vagal response, we're really operating in the lower, not fully, but almost a lot of the activation is in the lower part of our body, below our diaphragm. And so that's the dorsal vagal. And this means that kind of all the upper level stuff, all of our higher order functioning and thinking is almost completely offline, and we're really acting only on these very primal instincts. So what happened behaviorally is that I started to shut down. I was in the middle of writing out this list, and I stopped being able to focus and concentrate completely. I lost all interest in wanting to continue sorting through that task. I was texting some friends at the time, and I just found myself completely pulling away from the conversation with them because I just wanted to shut down and do nothing. And I ended up, physically retreating to my room and just kind of sitting and spacing out. And this is because, again, my body, in an attempt to rest and kind of conserve some resources, I ended up shutting down, thinking that it was too much. And so again, the ideal is that we can have this sympathetic response, this fight or flight, because it is important for us to notice when something is wrong or possibly dangerous and try and solve through it. But ideally, I would have gone to this green zone and been in the ventral response. And so finding myself here in the dorsal response, where I was completely disconnected, didn't want to talk to anyone, didn't want to do anything, didn't want to move my body in any good ways, I had to essentially kind of fake it till I made it. And so doing things, even if it's in a fake way or it feels disingenuous, that would happen naturally in this state, the green zone state, can help actually push you into that state. So for me, what I ended up doing for myself was I kind of created a whole environment where I felt safe and that there was no threat and that I could feel kind of calm and supported in my own space. So for me, I ran a bath for myself. I made some tea, which is a really good self-soothing tool for me. I put on a movie that was How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. It's one of my kind of favorite feel-good movies. All these things that just naturally kind of tell me and reinforce my brain's sense of scanning that I am in a safe environment and I'm okay. And so over, I think after about an hour, where I brought in all of this self-soothing, I'd done all these things to make myself feel safe, which involves like laughter and smiling because I was enjoying this movie. I found myself able to talk to friends a bit more. I started, texting back those same friends. And I also found myself wanting to go back into healthy movement for my body. And ended up getting to a place where I was able to do a bit of exercise because I knew that eventually I was back in this green state where I felt safe, I felt supported, and I wanted to do something that would make me not even feel better, but that would reinforce this idea that I was now safe. And so, movement is one thing that for a lot of people there may be some struggle around it, and it's especially difficult to motivate yourself to exercise when you're in this dorsal state, which was the exact case for me. I'd planned earlier in the day to do a big workout, to do some dancing and go on a walk, and once I went into this dorsal red zone response, I gave up on that completely, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna lay in bed all day, and that's gonna be it. And so by faking it and mimicking all of these things that I would usually do if I was in safety, like laughing and talking with friends and smiling, and kind of relaxing my body in a healthy way, I was then able to get to a place where exercise did seem enticing. I did want to move my body because I knew that it was good for me. So that's a long video, and this is, a brief snapshot of how much our nervous system and our body physiologically can impact us, emotionally, in our actions, in our thought patterns, and even in our capabilities in these moments. But I hope that was helpful. If you want to learn more about polyvagal theory, definitely leave a comment. Let me know if this was useful, and maybe I'll make it a multi-part series, because I do use polyvagal theory a lot in my work. But yeah, other than that, I hope that was useful, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.